Guys, I brought you a piece a number of years ago, top of my head about 4 years ago. It had to do with DB Cooper because I know the man. That was never supposed to turn into a thing. I was making a comment and I was making conversation. It was topical all the time, and not to mention, he had passed away. So it was just fresh on my mind. I brought it to you guys. Well, it did turn into a thing. And I generally feel that I have a sense. I have a sense for what you guys are going to want. You write the thumbnail and you got these things, and you're going to get some clicks and there's going to be comments and people are going to care. And I get it wrong all the time. The ones I think are going to be hot are lukewarm. The ones that I think that are in passing like this turn into a thing. So fast forward 4 years, take me back to about 3 weeks. I brought you a second piece on DB Cooper. Now, that was very similar feeling inside of me that I wanted to sit and talk about something, but you guys weren't overly going to care. I didn't know for sure if you would even remember who DB Cooper was. And the reason it was fresh in my mind when I brought it to you last is Netflix just put out a piece of garbage on DB Cooper. And when I tell you it was garbage, it was well made. It was like well produced. The video was good. They just didn't bring you any new information. The information that they did put out was largely wrong. They knew it. A simple fact check would, and they put it out anyway as though it was accurate. It just bothered me because I know about the case. 10 years ago, a different piece was done on DB Cooper, and 10 years before that. 10 years in our future, we'll see yet another piece on DB Cooper. You come to the same conclusion. They draw you and push you into the same conclusion, to the fact that people believe this is obvious, this is done, this is all handled. The problem is, whether you're going 20 years back and all the pieces that have come up since and tell this piece of crap by Netflix, or 10 years in the future for the next guy that grabs it and does it, there's no new information. It's all the same information. It's just presented a little bit different. So when you go into the same direction, you go, okay, it's him. Okay, it's either him or it's him. It's the only people they brought you. It's the only people that you have, which then eventually gets picked up and puts on the internet, which a lot of you hold as the absolute holy grail to anything. I Googled it. Well, the information hasn't changed. Information has never changed. It's not because it isn't out there. The FBI never released it. They give you X amount. They feed you because it's got popular opinion. They also have to hold things so that they have them. They're doing investigations. They don't want the actual guy to know we're on to you. Just by example, there's a number of reasons within the body of police work that they would preserve information. But it's the same piece, and it will be 10 years from now. Now, I brought this to you. You guys were so curious. I started getting personal calls and text messages from people within my circle, social media and the view and the YouTubes and the comments. So I wanted to pay this off. Now, I am being a little kid. I'm well aware. I'm well aware that you can see through what I'm doing. I want to be asked. I want the attention. It would not make a bit of difference if I told you the name or not. I mean, I at no point was sworn to a level of secrecy. And I think the only part of me, aside from being a little kid who wants to be asked, the only part of me, which probably represents 2 to 3% of this, is his wife doesn't know, and neither do his grandkids, and they live right up the road. I'm in Portland, Oregon. They're from here on up the interstate as far as Salem, which is only 40 minutes away. And I'm not looking to start a thing, but that is, in fairness, a very small part. It's largely that I want you to have to continue to ask me, but I've dangled this all the way to the FBI. Just through you guys. Just, hey, why don't they ask me? If they took the time to call me, I know information that they have, that no one else does. I will provide that information just to prove that I know. Now, if the FBI did that, and I've always thought they'd take me up on that. I really did think I'm going to get a call. So somebody's going to come see me. It would not be a shock to them. They looked into this guy. They showed up at his door. They searched his stuff. Now, people don't know that. And the internet was a very different thing, and you could keep things quiet. But they did. Now, I have a feeling that could have been up to 100 people. Just have a feeling. That's never come. I have a feeling they really looked in probably to a lot of people. But I don't actually have that information. But I'm sharing with you when I reveal to them who it is and what I know about it, that they know that they haven't told anybody else. They go, man, okay, Chael's got it right. And that is somebody that we Do you call it a suspect? Do you call it a suspect when they get a warrant and they come out to your house? Probably, to some degree. All right. So I get the phone call. Get the phone call from the FBI. Now, there's a part of me that thought I was being catfished. To this very moment that I'm speaking to you, I'm not completely confident in telling you that I was contacted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm not. But then there's a big piece of me that believes I was. Here's the way the story goes. Okay, the gentleman calls me up. He's an older gentleman and I can hear it. But he tells me, first off, he gets my number. That's unusual. That would be unusual to get it. And then you've got a guy pulling a gag who's an elderly gentleman that I think we would at least put in the category of they're not really into prank phone calls, but more above everything else, he didn't try to get anything. He called to share something with me. So it was a very believable piece, but here's what he shared. We have no division within the FBI that is looking into DB Cooper. There is not one person in all of Quantico or a derivative thereof that is looking into DB Cooper. So, Chael, there is nobody to contact you. I was on the team, of which was such a small team that by the time it dwindled and I retired, it was only me and one other guy. That was the entire thing looking into DB Cooper. Other people weren't handed. Now, you've got the classified information. You've got the information out there if somebody wanted to go and look into it, but they're not. Who's letting me know? This is why nobody's contacting you. This is done. Two things. First off, we are content that the public is content. Start with that. We're content that I thought this was a powerful statement, that the public is content, so we have nothing further to do. And secondly, if we were to continue to have a department that's looking into it, we are then revealing that we have failed to do our job. Right now, it at least has the appearance, and I'm changing the words a little bit. Right now, it at least has the appearance that we've done it, but the person has died. Okay. That would help explain why nobody has reached out, want to do a little train of information here. But he didn't follow up. He didn't try to seek it. He just let me know. It was me and another guy by the time that I left. That department is long gone. Those files exist, but nobody is looking into them. The department gets contacted every time one of these producers wants to come out and do a show ever so often, but we don't give them any new information. They're never going to have more information than they have now unless they use the Freedom of Information Act, which even if we do, we have ways to stall. Thought this was interesting. And at no point, he shared this info with me, at no point in there did he begin to ask. I was waiting the whole time. I was waiting for an ask. Hey, I used to work on this case. Hey, I have my suspicions. Hey, put my mind at ease. Hey, tell me. I keep coming out and saying, I know two things. I know two things, and I know the FBI knows them, but I know none of you know them, that it hasn't been really. He didn't ask me either of those things. So in that regard, I thought I was dealing with an actual agent who has retired, who used to be on the case of DB Cooper.